Yeah, hi, good morning, good evening, everyone. Today we talk about the biggest scam running in India by the nexus of banks and builders duping lakhs of home buyers across India in under construction projects. How the banks have violated the RBI guidelines, their primary regulatory authority, and how RBI is not listening, not working on the complaints raised against the banks. The banks are looting, harassing middle class home buyers. Yeah, so moving to next slide. So this is the headline from few newspapers. So I have two clippings. This says 4.8 lakh home worth 4.48 lakh crore stuck or delayed in top seven cities. So they are talking about only top seven cities. It is from NCR, Delhi, MMR, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai, Bangalore, Kolkata. And still there are tier 2, tier 3 cities which are not part of this: Chandigarh, Bhopal, Lucknow, Bareilly, and so many small towns which have been not covered. So if you talk about the scam across India, it is one of the biggest scam of this country. So what this article says, as many as 5 lakh homes worth of 4.48 lakh crore are stuck across 7 micro markets, and out of that, 77% of such projects are from the NCR capital region, which consists of Delhi, Gurugram, Noida, and Mumbai metropolitan region, which is Mumbai and Pune. So NCR has approximately 2.4 lakh stuck or delayed units worth over 1.81 lakh crore, where MMR comes next with 1,28,870 units worth about 1.84 lakh crore. Bengaluru also has some 26,000 worth 28,000 crore. So you can see the gravity of the situation, but no one from the government is working to resolve this issue. They established RERA, but it is a toothless tiger. It failed to take action against the builders. Why it is fault of banks? So we are discussing about this thing. Why? So stuck home buyers. Who is a stuck home buyer? Who has invested in a property but are unable to obtain the position due to various reasons such as construction delay, legal disputes, financial issues. In most of such cases, banks are responsible for the delays and problem faced by home buyers. So we will talk about how and where. So how they it is fault of banks. Non-compliance with project approvals. Banks are required to ensure that the construction of a property is in compliance with all the necessary approvals and regulations. So what are approvals? They are from the authorities, development authorities, they are from the RBIs, and they have to follow NDMA guidelines also, which I will cover in another video. But in most of the cases, banks have failed to follow these guidelines, which has led to legal disputes and delay in the delivery of the property. Moving to next, how banks have helped these cheat builders in diversion of funds because they uh, disburse upfront to the builder in the subvention schemes, and the builder has siphoned off those funds for other projects for personal use. And banks are also required to do verification of builders. Banks are responsible for verifying the credentials of the builder. So how they will verify the credentials of builder? By going to the MCA website, what are the land incumbencies are there on that plot where the builder is going to deliver the flat or providing look. So they have to do all these checks and balances before doing the project approval and before each disbursement. In most of the cases, banks have failed to do, which caused a big amount of pain to middle class home buyers who are struggling from last 10 years to get their home. So what the RBI guidelines talks about. So the RBI has sent a advisory note to all the banks. So if you see, it was sent on September 2013, so 10 years back. So the RBI, which clearly says upfront dispersal of housing loans. So this is the biggest scam of this country, where lakhs of people have been trapped by the banks. And why the banks are trapped? Because when these builders were building the projects, the banks did the construction related funding, the project funding, and the builders failed to get market share. So they were unable to sell the property, the project fully. So due to which they were not able to pay the project loan from the bank. So the bank and builder Nexus, they met and they tried to trap, and they were successful in trapping these middle class home buyers who has a dream to get their home. What was that scheme? That is subvention schemes where builder will ensure, take a guarantee to the home buyer that he will pay the EMI till 2 years, 3 years, till the construction is over and the registry gets done in the name of buyer. So RBI was aware of such practices, and from so many complaints, they come with this circular. So what they are saying? So they are saying that the banks, RBI has observed that some banks have introduced certain innovative housing loan schemes in association with builders, developers, upfront dispersal of sanctioned individual housing loans to the builders without linking the disbursals to various stages of construction of housing projects. Interest EMI on the housing loan availed by the individual borrower being serviced by the builders during the construction period. The right, this might include signing of tri-party agreement between the bank, builder, and the buyer of the housing loan. These loan products are popularly known as various schemes like 80-20, 75-25 schemes, or more popularly known as subvention scheme. And how they are warning, the RBI is warning the banks. Such housing loan products are likely to expose the banks as well their home loan borrowers to additional risks. So the banks were aware from the day one, any loan sanctioned after this date, the banks have to follow the guidelines, but they failed to follow these guidelines and they still did upfront dispersal. And this subvention scheme was Ponzi scheme and stopped by RBI in 2019-2020 after lakhs of complaints. Cases of disputes between individual borrowers and developers, payment of interest EMI by the developer during the period on behalf of borrower, non-completion of the project on time. So these are all the risks which the banks have to carry on their books. So the developers builders on behalf of individual borrowers to banks may lead to lower credit, because when after some period the builder stopped paying the EMI, so lot of home buyers, they paid from their own pocket to save their CIBIL score. So banks run disproportionately higher exposure with concatenant risk of diversion of funds, and builder did it with specific purpose. So this is the scheme which was built by banks to save their NPAs on project loans given to developer and trapped middle class home buyers. So when the bank gave the loan against this subvention scheme, the builder used that loan amount most of the cases to pay back their project loan. By doing this, builder was able to save his skin. The bank management was able to save their skin. But who was trapped? It was middle class home buyer who has a dream to get their home. Now the builder used the bank fund given to home buyer for the construction of project, but used by builder either to divert it or pay back their old loans to save them NPA, save their NPA. So they were not having any money to construct these projects or continue the project unless until new buyer come at a higher price to give exit to existing old home buyers. So what RBI is saying, so in view of higher risk associated with such lump sum dispersal of sanctioned housing loans and customer suitabilities, banks are advised that dispersal of housing loan sanctions to individuals should be closely linked to stages of construction. So what do you mean by stages of construction? It is not like the builder has done the external structure and demanding 90%. No, bank cannot do that as per this regulation. They have to follow their own architecture, validate the stages of construction. If the flat or overall project is constructed only 50%, they cannot pay more than 50%. Till external work is done, it is only 50% construction, because internal work has to be done, common facilities has to be developed. But the bank disburse 100% loan amount at 50% stages of construction. Sometimes they have even done 80% payment only with 10%, 20% construction. So they clearly warn these banks, please don't do any upfront dispersal. Upfront dispersals sit under construction greenfield housing projects. But there are very well-known cases like Monthly project in Bangalore, PNB HFL did the same thing. In JP, ICICI and Axis Bank has done. In Unitech, HDFC and ICICI Bank have done. And there are thousands of small projects spread across Noida, Greater Noida, Faridabad, and Gurgaon, where the banks are at fault by doing upfront disbursal by violation of RBI guidelines and trapping middle class home buyers to save their NPS. There is one more agency called NHB National Housing Board, which was sister concern or parent child of RBI. So they also published similar set of guidelines in November 18, and these guidelines are applicable to all housing finance companies. Some of big names are like HDFC, DHFL, Piramal Housing, Home Financing, PNB Housing. So all these companies come under the purview of NHB, but still they also mention the same wordings what the RBI has published in September. So these all bank companies are also at fault by not following NHB guidelines. And NHB, when the complaints were raised with NHB, they failed to take any actions. Some 2 years back now, NHB is owned by RBI. So whenever you raise a complaint with NHB, they will say we cannot work. There is no guidelines from RBI. If you raise complaint with RBI, RBI say we cannot take any action. This will go to NHB. So this is the biggest scam running in this country. I request everyone to support by stopping the EMIs in bulk. Unless until people don't stop, it is money which is going without any purpose. You are just paying. You have become slave of banks, and you keep paying EMI for 10 years. These houses will not be built unless until a collective action taken. If you are thinking your project is will get priority, no, it cannot. The solution has to come for all the 5 lakhs home buyers in these 7 cities. If you know anyone who is still paying EMIs, please share the video. There is no probability to get your home unless until you do stop EMIs. India Bulls is doing harassing their customers in Supertech. They are charging 16 to 18% interest with Supertech home buyers. Similarly, other housing finance companies are doing in other projects, but no one is running behind builder to whom they have given money like they got it their own money. It is depositors' money. The banks have done scam with investors, shareholders, as well as depositors by not following RBI guidelines. Please share the video to maximum so that it reaches to finance ministry, finance minister, RBI. Many thanks. This will help home buyers to get their home, their dreams, else they will remain slave for the rest of life. And in case of the loan not getting closed, it may get transferred to your next generation also. You cannot run away without paying the loan. So take action. Time to take action. I request everyone. March month should be no EMI month. Thanks. Bye.